Hi everyone, welcome to Adapting Class. If you new to this channel, I'm usually NCLEX creator content. I help nursing students crash the NCLEX. But after getting multiple emails about viewers who saw my videos on the NCLEX and requests, I'm planning to do questions how to approach your TEAS exams. And so today we're going to focus on the science portion and how to master some of the key concepts that you know. And if this video is helpful, let me know below so that I can keep the TEAS content coming and helping out the community. So let's get to it as usual. I don't waste time. It's a few questions and just to help you the TEAS exams is straightforward. They're not going to trap you. They give you questions straightforward. If you know it, you pick it, you move on. So master your content, but how do you master your content? So practice questions. I know you know this information, but these are straight designed to trap you. But if you know, this will be easy. So what is the problem? Which structure of the respiratory system is responsible for gas exchange? Read it from the back. Responsible for gas exchange. That means in the respiratory system, there's a bunch of them there, but one particular one is responsible for gas exchange. This is how you read the question from the back. It said gas exchange related to the respiratory system. All of this is part of the respiratory system. Which one involved in gas exchange? Look at what they've done. Trachea is a tube, okay? It's at the top of the respiratory system from here all the way here, right? And then it branches to the bronchi. It's the air passage space. It does not exchange it. So these are all what we call dead space because there is no exchange. It has to get to the bronchioles, then finally to the alveoli, which has the small air sac. And that is where oxygen is exchanged with carbon dioxide. And this is the actual respiratory mechanism. Your diaphragm is a muscle. It helps with the contraction, but it does not help with the exchange. Therefore, the right answer is alveolar. So this is how you approach the questions. They will give you questions related to the system, but ignore it. Answer the main buzzword, I call it gas exchange. So that's your right answer. Next question. When the diameter of a blood vessel decreases, what happens to the blood vessel? This requires a little bit of content. So, how does blood pressure comes about? We have something we call vasoconstriction. That means if this is the vessel, it's going to tighten up. When it tighten up, it's resistant passage of fluid, blood, be increase is difficult. And that is what we call increased resistance. When you increase resistance within the vessel, your blood pressure increases. So when the diameter decreases, so this is the diameter, this is the vessel, right? So if the diameter decrease, that means it gets smaller than usual, the blood pressure is going to increase. After you answer that in your head, look for answer because they will trap you. I see blood pressure, blood pressure, blood pressure. I don't see anything here, right? Blood flow doesn't stop completely. It does not stay the same. Blood pressure is going to increase. So that's your right answer. Okay. So two is your right answer. This is the way you should approach all the questions and then you master it. The same thing, regulating blood calcium level. Which hormone is primarily responsible for regulating blood calcium? They told you calcium. So go to with your content, underline it, calcium, and it's regulating calcium and it's a hormones. Make sure all of these are hormones. Yes, insulin is a hormone, PTH is an hormone, glucagon is an hormone, cortisol is an hormone. But look at it. If you know your content where you can see three of the information given you are all related to sugar. That is why the teas, they will not trap you too much, but they will give you content. If you know, you pick it. Insulin regulate glucose. Glucagon regulate glucose. Cortisol is a steroid that help. It can also regulate your glucose. It help with your metabolism, but it does not affect your calcium. Therefore, PTH, parathyroid hormone does. When your calcium level is low, you increase PTH, which is your parathyroid hormone. When your calcium level is high, is PTH will go down. This is how you know how your calcium is regulated. Straightforward, right? Most reabsorption of water and solid occur. In which part of the nephron does the most reabsorption of water occur? So this is a little bit tricky, but it's not that difficult, right? It's not difficult. It's all based on content. Look at it. The kidney, you have something we call glomerulus with where it goes into the Bowman's capsule, right? And then you have a tube that take everything down and goes something we call loop of Allen. Then you go into the collecting tubule, right? You go down to the collecting tubule. So the loop of Allen is where most of the action occur. But there's less reabsorption of water. It's basically concentrating. This loop is concentrating everything. The distal convoluted tube, there's reabsorption, which is the distal but less amount of water. The proximal one is where you absorb most of your fluid, and therefore this is where most of the solids get reabsorbed. The distal, less amount. The glomerulus is just filtering everything, and the loop of Allen is where most of the concentration. So concentration occur here. We absorb most information, less information we absorb here, and we filter here. So the right answer is proximal convoluted tubule. Number 5, which layer of the skin contains blood vessels, nerves, and glands? Look at it. They've given you layers of the skin, right? And the layers of the skin start with the epidermis, right? The epidermis, right, is the upper surface of there shouldn't be vessel there. When you cut yourself, it has to go deep before you bleed. Therefore, no blood vessel there. It's the top. Hypodermis is below the epidermis. Mostly there's fat. Before you bleed, it has to go through the fat tissue to get it into the dermis. Dermis is where most of the vessels is located. Sensation, you can feel the nerves and the glands, the sweat glands, they are all in the dermis. The stratum cornea is part of the epidermis, but it's the dead portion, the dead layer of the epidermis. That's why we freckled our skin. Our dead skin usually die and comes out. It's the stratum cornea. So that's that one. So the right answer is the dermis. Number 6, which organelle is responsible for producing ATP in the cell? ATP is energy. You have to know the part of the cell and know where energy occurs. Even if you don't know, answer each question, see if you can recognize it. If you know their function, eliminate it. Ribosome make protein. It does not make energy. The protein are packaged by the Golgi apparatus. The nucleus contains the DNA. By default, mitochondria is where the ATP is produced. You see how I'm approaching the question, teaching you how to answer question. You master these things. You just run through the question so quickly, you'll be surprised. Which macromolecule serves as a main source of energy for the body? Once again, underlying the buzzwords, I call it. The buzzwords is the key word. Macromolecule, it has to be a micromolecule, and it has to provide energy by the main source. Protein is our backup source of protein. You don't break down your protein unless your main source of energy is gone. The nucleic acid contains the DNA. We don't use it. Carbohydrate is our main source. Lipid is not it's also energy, but it's less efficient. We don't use it that much unless you need it and you're starving yourself. Then you break down your fat. But your carbohydrate is the main source. So number 3 is your right answer. As I'm being answering the question, you see how I'm trying to use content and test taking strategy. Which of the following best describes the structure of the DNA? The DNA come in something we call double helix. Okay, most DNA are double helix. RNA are single-stranded, right? Single-stranded. So single-stranded helix is usually an RNA. The DNA will be double-stranded. There's nothing like triple-stranded, and DNA is not branched, it's double-stranded. So this is that one. So number 3 is your right answer. It's straightforward. You don't have to like memorize anything, but know the content and you'll be able to break it down. Number 9, During which phase of mitosis do the sister chromatin separate? The key word is sister chromatin. Don't get distracted. It says separate. So you have to know at the prophase, the chromatin condensed. They have not separated yet. So this is where the condensation occur. At the metaphase, they line up. So they line up here like that. They lining up. They have not separate, right? They separate at the anaphase. Okay, and the telophase usually occur after the separation. So this is the way you have the PMAT. This is the way you have to remember it. So I condense, I line up in the middle, I separate, and this is what happened after separation. So that's the anaphase is where they separate. And the last one, which part of the cell synthesize protein? We've seen a question already. I explained which portion secrete protein. Which portion should secrete protein? The Golgi apparatus package it. It package the protein or whatever is made, the nucleus where everything is started from, the DNA. The ribosome make the protein, the lysosome break things down. It has enzymes that break things down. It's like a soldier. It scavenge bad stuff. It has enzymes that break things down. So the ribosome is where most protein is made. This is number 3. And so this is the short video for the TEAS people. If you like it, you know what you think. If you need more like this, subscribe to Adapt and Class to help you pass your TEAS. Take care of yourself and good luck.